If you're looking for a way to really accomplish your weekly goals and want to make sure that one, you set goals that you'll actually accomplish and then go out and get those done all the time, I've got a technique for you that I've been using for a few years. I'm going to explain how you can implement it, a couple different variations on it, and how I'm doing it right now. So if that sounds good to you, let's get into it. Hey, I'm Adam with the Productivity Academy. And like a lot of people, I used to have goals, when they were needed, or I'd come up with them like, hey, it's quarterly planning or maybe an annual thing, but it was kind of just based more on what I wanted to achieve at the time. And it wasn't super connected. And I didn't have a great way to get things done on a short-term basis. I just, had tasks, projects, try to get stuff done. But because of this, there was times where I didn't achieve too much of them, and it could be really frustrating, right? Nobody likes that feeling of not getting things done or having, open loops and loose ends. So this technique of using A goals that I want to share is a way to set, goals with this framework, but it's a great way to set weekly goals. It's not going to work for all time frames. I don't use it for, yearly planning, things like that. You can adapt it and use it how you want, but I have found like the weekly timeline to be amazing for this. So I want to share with you the way I learned it and then the way I'm using it now. There's some similarities. The underlying way to do this is the same, but there's some fun things you can do if you do this in a group setting, which is how I learned it. And I want to share that with you so you can, take this and put it to use or kind of see what I've done and see if that works for you a little bit better. So I originally picked this up from a business coach years ago. His name is David Wood, and the way he explained it to me in a group coaching session was that you could set A goals in a group by you either announce them ahead of time each week. Maybe you're having a group coaching call or an accountability meeting, or you write them in like a public doc. Maybe you have some sort of an accountability group, but then you have a shared Google Doc where you can track changes. You can see what people wrote. It's in writing. It's all there for everyone to see. But it's just important that it was public, at least to the accountability group, and it was recorded in some way, shape, or form. So you can't just erase it and nobody has any idea what happened, right? You want to be accountable for this stuff. Okay, so we'll get into the actual goals, but you would then agree in writing. Each person would have this in that document or say it during a meeting. What was something that is going to be meaningfully painful to you that you would do if you don't get an A goal done? And we'll come back to that. So the important thing about these A goals is that they would be done no matter what. All right. This is kind of a silly example, but it's just for example's sake. Let's say your A goal was to complete your disaster planning kit by Friday, all on your own. For whatever reason, you just decided that you didn't want any help. You're going to do it yourself. Come Friday, all you needed was some aspirin, and your friend says, hey, I've got aspirin in my car. I can give it to you, and then we can go and go do other stuff and you'll be done. But your A goal said that you would do it all on your own. So you are going out and you are going and getting that aspirin all on your own just because you said you would. And as I mentioned, it's a little bit of a silly for an example, but the lesson here is important. You're doing it no matter what, so that you kind of build that internal brain muscle and responsibility. You're getting in the habit of when you tell yourself that you'll do something, you do it. So now let's circle back to, having these A goals and that painful thing that would happen if you didn't get it done. Just for some examples, because some people ask, what would it be? Is it, some crazy thing? Well, it's highly individual. Maybe it's $100 donation to the political party you don't support. Like maybe that's horrible enough that that's going to really push you to do it. Maybe it's skipping a group night out. Instead of doing something fun on a Saturday, you're staying in and you're sticking to that. But the point is, it has to be something that's actually painful in some way and is motivating and has real meaning, that you really want to get this done and avoid doing that, whatever that is you said you would do. So, last but not least on this, setting your A goals, this helps you really focus on the things that you have to get done, right? If you're doing this, you are not setting 100 little tasks. You're not taking everything off of your project management system, off of Todoist, out of ClickUp. It's not the 10 things that you feel like you should get done. These are the things that you will absolutely, no matter what, get done this week. And that really helps in so many ways. One, it helps you really distill down to, hey, what are the important things that I'm working on? What's going to move me forward? And what do I really have the drive to get done? For me this week, one of them on the whiteboard off screen is creating this video. Just said, hey, this is something I really wanted to get done this week. I will get it done. It's important. And it's also fun for me to share this idea that's actually really helped me a lot. So I put that on there. And that's enough to get me going, because now what I'm doing on my own, I incorporate some of the ideas of what I just told you about, but it's done on my own, like I mentioned. So what I'm doing though is I'm writing them out, and I take time usually on Mondays to go down and say, okay, here's the projects I'm working on. Here's my tasks. I'm doing that weekly review. But then one of my tasks on Mondays is just to write out my A goals, and I put them on a whiteboard, and it is on the side of my office. I probably see it 20, 30, 40 times a day. Every time I get up, go somewhere else out of my office, when I look around, I see it. When I'm wondering like, oh, okay, I kind of lost the thread here. What should I be working on? Like, oh, right, they're right there and highly visible. So it's got my A goals. It's got some notes, if I have anything else extraneous, but mostly it's just for my weekly A goals. And that way I see it all the time. Now, I no longer have an accountability group for this. I found that I'm pretty good at doing it, but I highly suggest if you have maybe a friend who wants to do this, a work partner, or you can find somebody else online that maybe this would be helpful to start with. I think it can be helpful to help you hold yourself accountable, especially if you know yourself and you're like, yeah, I kind of have a hard time, accomplishing the things I told myself I would. It can really help to know that somebody else is out there thinking about it and will hold you accountable. But if you're like me, maybe you work from home, you're working on your own, this can be really good to just at least put them front and center, and over time really narrow it down so you're only putting the things on there that really matter. This week I have more than usual. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A goals, and normally I would try to stick to 3, maybe 4, and if possible 3 or less. I think that's a great way to go about it. And it's not that you are not going to get anything else done this week. It's not that you can't have other projects, can't have other tasks, but these are the things that will absolutely get done. So highly suggest giving this a shot. I think it's a nice, fun way, but also a very helpful way to develop that habit of self-responsibility, and also making sure that you get those things done that you truly want to get done. So if you have any questions about this, be sure to leave a comment below. If you're implementing it, if you've done something similar to this, leave a comment below. Let me know about it. Thanks.